many familiar faces. Maybe as a way to level set a bit, most of us move money around the world. We send money from here to our friends, our family, or we receive it. But most of us don't think about how it actually works.
Yes.
And I think it's important maybe to just level set. Maybe you can share a little bit of what Thunes does and how you're actually powering the economy and how does it end up in our wallets.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having us here, Vandy and Singapore FinTech. Excited to chat about this and our powerful partnership together. So yeah, like you said, most people are not as concerned about how money moves and the pipes and rails behind payments. And at Thunes, we care deeply about that. In fact, we live in that complexity ourselves. So what we say is Thunes is the smart superhighway to move money around the world. And you know, that's an interesting slogan, but I think you can put the circle logo on that too and kind of call it a day. So what does it mean for us? And what Thunes is really the payment infrastructure behind sending money. And the best way to explain it is through our customers. And if we go to the next slide, you won't see our logo on these pages. But we live deeply within the platforms of our customers to help facilitate money movement for their senders or their merchants. So I often say that the product at Thunes involves 3 different areas. One is our network. So we have 130 countries that we operate in throughout the world with 7 billion mobile wallet and bank account endpoints that allow our customers to accept payments from or make payments to on behalf of their customers. Now, the other element of our product is technology. We have an API that enables that network with one single endpoint. So like I said, we're not on these pages. You won't see our logo, but we live in the back end, and our product is an API that they connect to distribute payments around the world. And the third element of our product, which is really important for our partnership, is treasury. So with one single settlement, traditionally in US dollar, euro, GBP, but now an exciting new settlement mechanism. With one settlement mechanism, those customers can send throughout the world. And if you think about the power behind that, what that means is Thunes is, like I said, 130 countries. That means we need to build FX, commercial, operational, technical relationships with all of the partners throughout our network globally. So we have a distinct presence in APAC, but we actually are operating throughout the world, creating FX relationships, converting money, and sending money on behalf of our customers. And that's a really powerful statement to make, and we're proud to make it. So that's Thunes. That's what we're doing.
Oh, terrific. Maybe let's dive into a little bit, right? So we've announced our partnership. Like,
exciting.
Why is it a big deal?
Yeah.
Like, why should people care about this? And you know, when we talk about money movement, for those who are in payments and in money movement, people talk about pre-funding. Can you share a bit of like what that is and how does using something like a USDC, like a stable coin, help solve for that for you?
Yeah, so I think there's 2 elements of our partnership that are pretty exciting. One is, I think just from a general market perspective, seeing the unification of stablecoin companies and fiat-based companies, it's very exciting. It's a coming together of 2 industries that make a lot of sense together. And how does it make sense for Thunes? So with this partnership, our customers, select members of our direct network, can pre-fund us with USDC. And what does that mean? I was talking about the settlement relationship we have with our customers before, right? Of course, today, that means ultimately, our real-time payment network is underpinned by the traditional payment system. Customers need to send us a wire to fund the payouts that they send through Thunes around the world. So they still have to settle to us, which of course means working capital drains, operational capacity, treasury teams that have to send that money to us. And now with Circle, our members are able to send us USDC. And the USDC value proposition is right up front. I mean, I'll say it for you guys, right? 24/7, 365, and real-time funding. I mean, that's a really powerful statement to make in the settlement universe, right? Because, of course, anytime you have a weekend, that means you have to send money on Friday with the traditional banking rails to have funds available for the weekend. We have real-time payments that process all weekend that have to be funded on Friday. Our customers have the same. And so there's a really powerful element of speed of settlement that happens here and availability of settlement that Circle gives to us. So I'm very excited about the partnership, not just from the market perspective, but just how distinct and specific this case is. So excited about it.
So you gave the example of like on Friday. So
Yeah.
what happens to a customer on a Friday? So they're coming to you, they need to send money, and I think it's really relevant for this market to understand, like the money comes from the UK, comes from Europe, it comes from the US.
Yeah.
What is happening across the time zone, and what does that mean for your customer, and what the cost is for them?
Absolutely. So you could think about our customer as a traditional remittance player, right? They have a pay-in need. So they have senders who are funding in, right? If anybody send a payment through Singtel Dash, you have to fund the wallet and then send the remittance out. So our customers are waiting for those payments in. At the same time, they have a funding need towards Thunes. They have to send us money to fund the payments that are being made, all while payments are being sent. So they're trying to facilitate a real-time experience, and we do the same. We create this real-time experience, but underpinning all of that is a bulk settlement. So that customer of ours has a need for speed of settlement, for a speed that matches the speed that they give to their senders. If their sender is sending money into them, they expect that that money is available to send their remittance right away. And so this is why I say it's real-time payments now coupled with real-time settlement, because our customer, the remittance company themselves, now matches the experience that they're sharing with their customer and the working capital constraints that come with their customer. They can send payments to us all weekend long, settlements to us all weekend long, while they send those payments through us, and ultimately their customer sends through them. So we're matching the real-time payment experience with the settlement experience we're giving back to our members.
So in a way, you provide what seems like a 24/7 experience for the end holders, but in the back, you're essentially treading water to get money faster from a bank in the U.S. or in the U.K. over to Singapore, Hong Kong.
Treading water is relative, right? Of course, there is working capital in our companies, our customers, and others, but the fact is that speed of settlement is paramount, right?
Yeah.
They have a need to get us that money on Friday to make sure that they fund their payments, and now we've absolved that complexity for them.
And on Friday, they have to pay for Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
That's right. That's
and if
the
it's
weekend.
a long weekend, 4 days.
Only exacerbated. And at the same time, we're trying to provide this real-time payment experience to customers, and we do.
Yeah.
But it needs to be funded, and our members now have this distinct capacity to offload a little bit of that liquidity drain.
Yeah. Let's dive in a little more in Asia.
Sure.
And actually, it's Asia plus some of the emerging markets.
Yeah.
Sitting here in Singapore, it's a place where lots of money moves.
Yeah.
You can run down to Far East Plaza or somewhere in Paragon or Bugis and get money exchanged instantaneously.
Sure.
But that's not true in most of the emerging markets.
Right.
And how does it fit for you, and how are you supporting these emerging market wallets and emerging market endpoints where like real people live and they need to be able to get funds faster?
Yeah. And I often say with the Circle team I'm working with is that we're solving the same problem in different ways. But the way Thunes thinks about it is that we make the global economy accessible for all of these countries, right? We are trying to create the hub that exists here in Singapore and Hong Kong and other areas where you really see an epicenter of trade and finance and currency exchange. We are trying to create that accessibility in every corner of the world. And how do we do that? How have we gone about that? Is we've made those connections in these local markets. We spent the time in market to develop, like I said, commercial, operational, technical, and settlement relationships to facilitate trade and to facilitate exchange in these markets. So we work with local providers to do that. And I think what Circle is doing in this space is very interesting as well, because you are actually creating a global hub that has no specific jurisdiction or locale. And you're bringing USDC into markets, and all of a sudden they can become a dollar fluctuating economy. And of course, we know the dollar is still the reserve currency for trade. It is still the currency that's used most often. And so what you've done with USDC, and I think this is a huge nod to what Circle is doing as a complement to what companies like Thunes and Thunes ourselves are doing, is you're creating a hub. You're creating a hub that can be transposed from country to country, and it really has no borders on money. So like I said, it's the same problem solved in different ways. We've gone out and done that work to create the end rails to really go where people bank, where people hold their money and allow them to receive funds, accept funds in these wallets, in these bank accounts, in these cash pickup locations. And what you've done with USDC is you've created dollar access and dollar fluctuation in countries where it's quite difficult to access today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, when I'm an economist by training, and 50% of invoicing globally is in the dollar.
Right.
In Latin America, it's 90% because of the proximity to the U.S. And actually out here in Asia, it's around 75%. So when you walk into any sort of manufacturer, you open up and ask them, like, hey, what's your invoice? 3 out of 4 is going to be in dollars. And the fact is that these are companies that need access to dollars to be able to interact with the global economy, 100%. To be able to pay, to receive payments faster, and then to be able to pay their vendors faster. And 100%. All of that is if they don't have that, it's working capital on them, and it's cost for them.
Yeah, and it's time. It's time to receive those dollars. It's time to obtain a dollar to be able to send it outbound. And why shouldn't these countries have the same type of access to that currency that's used? And
essentially what we've done is decouple the dollar from banks.
Right.
Right, that you can actually hold dollars digitally in any wallet, in Web3 wallets, and then soon enough in Web2 wallets through partnerships with Thunes, and be able to provide a dollar access. That's really hard, especially as banks are de-risking around the world, and unfortunately de-risking from what they call de-risking in the emerging markets where lots of people live.
100%.
To close up, you are going through this journey. It's your first real kind of blockchain digital asset integration.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for companies that are looking to move into Web3? How do they think about it? Where do they start?
Yeah, and I love this question because I often joke with the Circle team that I've spoken to them every single day of my life for the past year. So painful as that may be, I think I've learned a lot about this space. And vice versa, right? And the advice I have is surrounding that is to consistently learn from each other, because these are two different industries coming together, and ultimately spending that time to deeply understand where each other are coming from, and realize in the end that we are all trying to solve a pain point for a customer, learning about each other, understanding each other, and making the ask where you need to say, like, this is a non-starter, we're a regulated financial institution, this is something we need, and being able to make those asks and be comfortable enough with each other, it's paramount. Finding the right partner that you can ask real questions is everything. And leading with a customer demand. Leading with the fact that you're doing something on behalf of customers together is everything to underpin the partnership. We can get so deeply technical sometimes, but to come out and just keep it super simple and talk about the customer is the top advice I'd have for anyone trying to get into a new industry like this.
Well, there's a great note to end. If you guys are interested, come find us, Circle, Thunes. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen.